another episode of Raven Conversations. I'm Joe C. Mandel, State Public Affairs Officer for the Washington National Guard. And today I'm joined by Guard husband and wife team. We've got Sergeant First Class Juli Peterson and her husband Johan Peterson. So Juli is a personnel specialist, human resource specialist at 898. And Johan, you work at DUM full-time, correct?
Correct, yes.
They're here to kind of share their unique Guard story, how it is being a Guard family, working on Camp Murray, and just kind of sit here and chat with us about it. So appreciate you guys coming on.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so intro, background stuff. We'll start with you, Johan.
Well, I joined the Guard 2011. I was in for 8 years, 8-0 contract. I was at 25 uniform, so retrans operator with 898 Charlie Company. It was a lot of fun. I met Juli in the Army. We can talk about that at some point. Before I joined the Army, I went to Brigham Young University and got a bachelor's in Latin American Studies and Economics. And here at the Guard, at the DUM, I work full-time taking care of distance learning classrooms around the state, as well as mobility, cell phones, that kind of stuff for everybody who uses them. So,
yeah. Juli?
I joined the Guard in 2011 as well. Johan and I met in the recruiting office, which is kind of funny. I went to college at the University of South Carolina. I graduated in 2001, dating myself. I went on a softball scholarship. I've always been athletic, loved that kind of stuff. So that was something really that appealed to me about the Guard. It's a team environment, and I love working with the team.
Yeah. So real quick before I get into how we met at the recruiting office, I'm also a Charlie Company alum, but I was an engineer, not a signal person. Back when it was Charlie, just engineers versus the Brigade engineer.
Long time ago.
And then I actually ended up commanding Delta Company at the MICO in the 898. So we all have that 898 connection. So how'd you learn about the Guard?
Well, my father was actually in the National Guard in North Dakota, and then he moved over to the Air Force after that. So I knew about the military. My brother was in the Guard in Minnesota, and I had thought about joining the military when I was in school, ROTC, but I never did it. So later when I graduated, I thought some more and then eventually pulled the trigger on the Guard here. So, yeah.
One of my friends that I worked with said, she was in the Guard and she was older, and I felt the camaraderie because I was 33 at the time. She goes, have you thought about joining the Guard? And I said, what is the Guard? And she goes, it's the Army National Guard. You don't leave the state of Washington. I said, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, and it's just like 2 days a month, a couple weeks in the summer. And I said, I've always wanted to serve. Yeah, I think I'll do that.
So in 2011, you both walk into a recruiting station. Mm-hmm. So kind of explain this.
Well, I joined first. I just reached out to the recruiter. I was the easy recruit, apparently. Sergeant Slade there in Everett. Mm-hmm. So I joined up, and then she joined in September. Right? August, but first drill was in September.
Yeah.
And that's where I met her at our first drill before basic training. Yeah. Well, one of our drills before basic training. Neither one of us were in uniform yet. So, And then how do you tell the story about how we met?
Well, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know, I was in jeans and a t-shirt because I didn't even have my RSP outfit yet. And I walked onto the drill floor in Everett, and I was just kind of looking around, and Johan's sitting there smiling. So I was like, oh, good, a friendly face. And he had his hands behind his back. He's like, they want you to stand like this. I went, oh, okay.
I was just trying to be nice, Well, I don't want to get in trouble, right? So,
yeah.
But, yeah, she says that I was the only person who was nice to her that drill, right?
Well, when you're new, you don't really... Yeah, he was very friendly.
I remember those RSP drills
kind of awkward.
When I first came in. It's kind of a little awkward. You kind of look around like...
right.
Okay, what do I do?
Right.
No one's explaining it to you.
Yeah. And if you're older in your 30s, chances are most people, the newer recruits are young, most of them. So it's a little awkward as well. But,
yeah. So Johan, we were kind of talking before. You got out after 8 years, but now you're full time at the DUM. So how'd you move from the uniform to being a civilian here?
Well, actually, there was a transition. I was a technician, Title 32 at the DUM before I got out. I joined the DUM in 2017, and then I got out in 2019. And right before I got out, I got a job on the state side, the state IT. And then in 2021, I came back to the DUM as a state employee, where I still am a state employee over at the DUM. So that's how that worked out for me. We at the time, since we were both in and we had a child and ramping up for deployment, we figured one of us needed to get out to be able to take care of our daughter in case there was a deployment there. So that's why I got out of the Guard.
Yeah. And then Julie, you made the switch from being a traditional guardsman to an AGR. Kind of go into how that worked out.
I found it difficult to walk the line between civilian life and M-Day requirements, since we were having big, MUTA 6, 8, and civilian jobs. I mean, they're supposed to let you, give you leeway on all that. They do, but there's always like an unspoken about it,
There's an impact.
Yeah,
an impact.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I told Johan, I said, I think I'm gonna do ADOS for a while and just see how that goes. Because really, we didn't know a whole lot about ADOS or AGR. And I just put it in a packet and started ADOS. And then that went like 6 months later into AGR.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was real quick. I was lucky.
Yeah. And you guys were talking about, you both worked for Amtrak prior to going AGR and then full-time where you're at now and do them.
Yeah, we both worked on the Empire Builder, Seattle-Chicago route. I was a train attendant, and she was a lead service attendant. And then she eventually moved to the station as well, just to be here with our child. But yeah, before we both moved over to working for the Guard full-time.
Were you traveling between like Seattle, Chicago?
I was, yeah.
Wow.
It's 2 days, 48 hours essentially each direction, and with a layover on each side. So
wow,
it's gone a lot.
Yeah.
Probably saw a ton of the country, but it's all the same stuff, I imagine.
Yeah. No,
So how long did you do that travel?
what was that? 3 years?
Oh wow.
so.
So for 3 years you made that kind of back and forth,
Back
2 days
and forth.
a week,
Yeah, well,
or 2 days there, 2 days back.
yeah. So you would do 2 or 3 of those trips a month. So it's not a bad job, but it does get a little repetitive. So,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And then
Meet lots of people.
And then Julie, you were at the station here.
Yes. Well, I worked on the local routes for Amtrak, which was all the way up to Vancouver, BC, down to Eugene, Oregon, and back, which was such a fun trip, like the little layovers up there and stuff. But when you're a mom, I'm like, I need to be home. So I moved into the station, and then I was at the King Street station in downtown.
Yeah. So for those watching, and you guys are a pretty unique Guard family, right? You're still in uniform, you got out, but you both still work on Camp Murray. What are some of the positives and I'd say pros and cons actually about being a Guard family?
Well, it is nice to carpool together, that's for sure. But I mean, there's obviously a certain amount of understanding of what she has to go through. How I can support her in her mission in the Guard, and my part of that mission as well. I support soldiers as well. It's just nice being part of that. So
Yeah.
I love it. I do. I mean, got a supportive husband, got a daughter that understands. I'm not always home,
Yeah.
But it's so, I don't know. I would encourage anyone to join later in life too, because you get a fun taste of life before the Guard, and then when you're in, it's just so rewarding to serve. I don't know.
How old's your daughter?
17.
Okay, so older. My daughter's 4. My wife used to work full time on Camp Murray as well before going to a state job. And our daughter is so young, and she doesn't really know. Like, Dad leaves for drill. She's like, whatever. Dad's gone for the day and comes back and he's in uniform. But at 17, it's different. They're like, hey, I understand exactly what's happening. So.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna blame Josh Orr. He's a big watcher of the show. You both volunteer with JSS, so kind of talk about your experiences doing that.
yeah, she actually led the way on that one.
Oh, it's been great. Mr. Orr actually was really instrumental in getting me involved. When I switched from supply, from supply in Seattle, and I moved down here into HR, I was in Mr. Orr's section, and he was like, hey, we're doing all these great things for the turkey drop and all this stuff. You want to help? Yeah. And just go and help. Plus, it helps when you've worked at the unit level. Soldiers that need help, and it's really cool to be able to give back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, Josh is a big volunteer.
Oh, he's great.
I've always tried to have him come on and kind of talk about his experiences. I think he's a humble guy and doesn't want to talk about himself.
I believe that.
totally appreciate that about him.
Yep.
Yeah, and she actually got an award. You got an award for volunteer work with
did.
JSS.
Yeah, last year I was the volunteer of the year. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time sorting presents for Christmas.
And backpacks for school.
Yeah. Kind of make a pitch for anybody that's interested in volunteering or sitting there on the fence saying, oh my gosh, like that'd be something I'd be interested in doing.
Oh yeah, reach out to Deb Discolo. She's
An angel.
oh yes, and she's always looking for more helpers.
Well, and helping with JSS, it does. You can see the impact in others, and that means that can mean something to somebody who wants to help. Think about other people and and see the impact you're providing for them.
Yeah. Any kind of additional comments? I think we're kind of wrapping up, and I just appreciate you guys coming on and sharing your guard stories. Truly, like it's always kind of fun to see people that are excited about being in uniform and supporting and that kind of stuff. So.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Anything else to add?
You work with one of my favorite people, Sam Perry. So.
Perry, yeah, he's good. He was actually my company commander back in the day.
Commander.
Yeah, back in 898. You know, it's funny. I forgot to mention this earlier. How I went from guards from a traditional MJ to technician. Neither one of us really knew or understood what ADOS or technician even meant. We never really came down to Camp Murray very often. Drilled in Marysville. And I came down here for a random mission where we took the JISC on a helicopter to the west side of the Port Angeles. And one of my colleagues said, "Hey, you want to meet my boss, Mr. Olmsted?"
Yep.
I was like, Sure. I'd wanted to get back in IT. At the time I was working at Amtrak, but I had a past in IT. So I met him, talked for a few minutes. Turns out that was my job interview. And the rest is history. He just said, "Okay, send in your resume. You can start, such and such a date." And I've been working on and off with Mike Olmsted ever since. He's a pretty awesome guy as well. So
newly CW5 too. It's
I know.
fantastic. So.
Yeah.
And Simona is awesome as well.
Oh, his wife.
Yeah.
Good people.
I was working on a story with him just this morning about the support you guys gave to the Pacific Rim College tournament.
Yeah. He really enjoys doing that every year, actually.
So he's fantastic. I love him, Sam Perry. Everybody that's ever come out of the Doom is always great. So Lance Shimamoto. She's one of my favorites. So
he's a great guy too.
So I appreciate you coming on. Julie, got anything else?
I think it's a great place for community, and I love our guard family. I don't know, we talk about it often, and it is funny because me being in uniform and Johan, do you know so and so? And I go, yes, but I know him as Mr. So and so, or
right.
Lieutenant Colonel so and so. Oh yeah. I don't know, it just feels like home.
Yeah, it is always funny. I mean, I'm in the Title V boat, right? As a a Mister here, and then they see me on drill weekends, and they're like, I'm like, yep, that is truly who I am. So same person. So
same person.
It's kind of funny. So I appreciate you guys coming on and joining us, and
thanks for
just
having
spending
us.
a couple minutes talking about your guard story. I always find them unique and interesting, and once again, we're going to blame Josh Orr for throwing you guys in the hot seat. So.
Everybody has a story.
That is true. I always say there's 8,000 guard stories with 8,000 guardsmen, and I'd love to hear every one of them because I think every person has a unique and different opinion about the guard.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, mine is it's not even close to how your guys are. So, except for the RSP drills. I will agree on that. That is awkward when you show up the first day and you're like, what do I do now?
Right.
I'm standing there all
in trouble
awkward, people are
already?
yelling, and you're like, I don't know what to do. So, if you're interested in learning more about guard stories, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Comment if you have any questions or want to know more, and like the video for more. And we appreciate you guys.
Nice to talk to you.
Thanks so much for having us, sir. Appreciate it.